Hi fans, and thanks for joining us for this Week 8 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. This week the Wolverines travel to Peters Township. A week ago the Wolverines were victorious here at the Wolverina. It was homecoming against Canon-Mac. We're going to sit down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak to review last week's victory over the Big Macs. We'll also look forward to this week's game at Peters Township. We'll also let you know where you can tune into this week's game. All of that and more as the pregame show rolls on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Fans, again, we thank you for joining us for this Week 8 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. We're now sitting down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak. And Coach Novak, before we talk about this week's game at Peters Township, let's take a look back to last week's homecoming victory over Canon-Mac. You started out like a house of fire, just like you did the week before at Baldwin.
Yeah, Adam, the kids were very excited for homecoming. We had a nice assembly on Friday. A lot of the boys, I think 7 of the boys were in the homecoming court, and Alex Beasley was the homecoming king, so they were excited about that. And Canon-Mac, they had a big football team. We were worried about them, and I think we made some big plays early, and that kind of got us rolling. And we just kept making big plays, and we really didn't run a lot of offensive plays. The defense played exceptional. Before we knew it, it was 21-0.
Talk about some of those splash plays, especially the pick 6 by Tom Green, plus 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns by Dazon Brown.
Yeah, those were some of the big plays we're talking about. The first touchdown of the game, we went with a quick kick, and Cody pinned him inside the 10. And they on third down, they went with a pass, and Tom intercepted it. Did a great job. He ran it in for a touchdown. Did a great job reading his blocks and finding the openings and getting in for 6. Tom's just getting better every week. Last year he didn't play defense. This year he came in and started playing at strong safety, and he's been a phenomenal player for us on defense. Offensively he's been a big threat for us all year, and he's a big leader on a football team this year. We're real proud of Tom and his efforts. That was a great play for us, get us started. Then Dazon Brown, his first touchdown was off of a punt, where they muffed the punt, and he picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. And late in the game, he's on the backup linebacker. One of the corners, Mike Nash, hit the ball carrier, and the ball popped out into his hands on the 2-yard line. He took it in for a touchdown, but he's been doing very well. Dazon's, improving, and he didn't play last year, so he's getting a lot more playing time. He's on special teams, and he does a nice job.
Coach, on Dazon Brown's first fumble recovery for a touchdown, it really seemed like Dante Broadus made a very heady play. He blocked the punter out to allow Brown to pick up the football and take it in the end zone.
Yeah, Dante Broadus is, he's had a phenomenal year on defense and on special teams. He's the block guy or the punt block team, and he gets in there, and if he doesn't block the punt, he creates a lot of havoc. But he's a very smart player, and he did a great job. But real proud of Dante. And he broke his hand last year, wasn't able to play. He had a severe broken hand, and this year he's come back, and you'll see he gets it strapped up pretty good. But he's playing very well at linebacker and on special teams.
Coach, clearly this week's game has a lot to do with playoffs and playoff seeding. A victory this week does qualify you for the WPIAL Playoffs, but you can't just focus on that. Obviously, there's a football game at hand as well.
Yeah, you know, your first goal is always to make it to the playoffs and to improve every game, and I think we're headed in that direction. We've been improving. We lost a couple tough games, but we're in the race. You know, you want to get the playoff spot, and then you fight for a home playoff spot. So, you know, we're still in contention for a home playoff spot, and we'll see what happens this weekend. But, you know, we got to take them one at a time. In Peters Township, they're very strong with a running attack, and, you know, we're concerned about that. And, you know, when you're on the road, it's a good drive to get there. We're allowing ourselves an hour and a half time to get there. And, you know, hopefully we don't hit too much traffic and, you know, get there on time.
Obviously, like you say, they have a very good running attack. What else should we look for from Peters Township?
Yeah, they've gotten better the last couple of years, and even this year, last week they played against Mount Lebanon, and it was 14-7 in the first half, and they moved the ball very well against Mount Lebanon's defense, which is a pretty good defense, and most of it was by running the football. I think that's the first thing we got to do is stop their running game, because their running back has around 1,000 yards now this year, and he's probably their biggest threat.
Well, Coach, we know that Harry Randall's probably out for the season with some surgery last week. Plus, DeQuan White was able to return from an injured shoulder. Talk about the injury report.
Yeah, you know, this time of year, everybody gets guys banged up. We have a couple guys that are banged up. Of course, Harry Randall, he re-injured a knee injury that he had in 8th grade, and Dr. Chris Horner operated. He's going to have another operation in about 3 months. He did the first operation a week after it happened. He tried to get it as soon as possible so he can get ready to come back next year. But, you know, he was one of our top athletes, one of the leading scorers returning from this year. He and Ron Brown were two guys who we were counting on this year. Both of them together combined had about over 20 touchdowns last year as a sophomore. So they were a big part of our offense, and with both of them gone, other guys have stepped up. DeQuan White's had a great year, and he did injure his shoulder against Mount Lebanon, and he's come back and he played last week. Malik Partlow had an injured shoulder for a while early. He came back. Now he injured his foot, and I don't know if it's turf toe or he has a bad foot, so he's not going to be eligible, or not. He's eligible. He's one of our top students, but he's not going to be dressed for the game this week.
Coach, we've talked about the passing game and Cody McClellan's ability throwing the football. How about him running the past couple weeks?
Yeah, you know what? The line has really come along, and you know, when you run shotgun and you run the ball and you throw the ball out of it, it really helps when your quarterback can run the football. And, you know, most teams are trying to stop our running backs, and that leaves Cody open. And he scored 2 touchdowns, one in each of the last 2 games, which, you know, people are going to watch that and concentrate on that, but that'll open up other things. So, you know, you got to use all your weapons, and Cody's definitely a weapon. He's come a long way. We're real proud of him.
Well, Coach, time to talk about some of the alumni, including Lafayette Pitts at the University of Pittsburgh. Had a pretty good game last week in Pitt's loss against Syracuse, especially in the return game. Yeah,
Lafayette, you know, we're real proud of that young man and what he's accomplished since 9th grade. Woodland Hills athletically and academically. He's doing very well at Pitt academically. You know, starting corner, plays great defense. Now he's on return teams. Did some great things, returned the football last week, played great defense too. So, you know, we're proud of him and, you know, all our guys that are out there, but he's a special player. In fact, a couple of the coaches and I are going to take some of the players up Saturday to watch the Pitt-Buffalo game. Some of the guys are being looked at by Buffalo, so we want to take them up there and let them see the campus and watch the Pitt Panthers play. So.
Plus, I know a former Wolverine is on the staff at Buffalo as well.
Yeah, that's another plus. Morte Peeler, you know, he was one of our players, played quarterback for us, and had a great career here. Went to Allegheny College, got into the coaching ranks, was at Cincinnati for a while. Now he's up at Buffalo and doing a nice job.
Coach Novak, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck this week against Peters Township. We'll talk to you again next week before the game here at the Wolverina. It'll be senior rec against Penn Hills. More of the pregame show when we come right back on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Again, fans, we thank you for joining us for this Week 8 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. As always, this week's game from Peters Township will be broadcast on the Woodland Hills Football Network on our flagship radio station, AM 1550 WLFP, on the web at woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com with the stream courtesy of MSAsports.net. We'll have live cable radio coverage on Monroeville Comcast Cable Channel 13, Penn Hills Comcast Cable Channel 98, and Verizon Fios Channel 37. And as always, we'll have our video replays across all of our television affiliates. For everybody at Woodland Hills Television, I'm Adam Gusky.